Canada isn't really suffering from an economic crisis, and this idea of a productivity crisis is massively overblown in the Canadian media and the Canadian economics community. Let's start with the argument that economists like bank macroeconomists are putting out around a productivity crisis. What they're doing is they're taking data on real gross domestic product and expressing it as a ratio of our population or of hours worked. Then they're comparing it to the United States, saying, we're falling behind. We're not increasing our production as fast as the United States. And then they go on to say, therefore, our standard of living is falling behind the United States. That's the argument in a nutshell that you'll read out there. The United States spends way more per capita of their somewhat larger gross domestic product on healthcare. So GDP statistics say Americans are doing way better in healthcare than Canadians. Of course, we know that's not true. Their life expectancy is lower, they have higher infant mortality rates. They actually have no more doctors and nurses per capita than Canada does. There's no reasonable way to conclude that the American healthcare system is better than the Canadian healthcare system, but the GDP statistics tell you it's better, and it's got more to do with how we measure than how we're actually doing. If we look at how Canada does in terms of income growth, income distribution, life expectancy, health, or even happiness, we do better than the United States. About the only thing we don't do better on is real gross domestic product per capita. To me, the story about the Canadian economy is quite different. We've been doing pretty well. And we're doing pretty well based on how much money we're making off of our very rich natural resources. Yet that actually scores poorly in productivity. It makes our productivity look bad because these resources, to extract more and more of them, it's high input, but relatively low output. We're making money from it, it's good for our economy, but it makes the GDP statistics and the productivity statistics look bad. One of the things that's very different about the Canadian economy is we have a much more equitable distribution of income than the United States. Things are fairer here, and fairness matters. The bottom line is when we look at a broader range of things that matter to people, that should matter to economists, Canada is actually doing okay. Now, that's not to say that everything's great. We shouldn't be complacent about this. Our natural resource wealth is not going to last forever, and we can't rely on global prices always making us rich off of these. We still have to get ready for the economy of the future, an economy driven more by technology and artificial intelligence. But we shouldn't start off by feeling that Canada is bad or backwards or is falling behind. Overall, the Canadian economy is doing just fine.